and it did look a little bit odd. But the iX, it's a completely different platform. And clearly my favorite one, the AC controls. Now let me show you one thing that does bother me a little bit in a BMW iX. Of course, there is no such thing as a perfect car. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the BMW Blog YouTube channel, and welcome to Chicago. Of course, it's cold and windy and gloomy today, but that's Chicago for you in the fall. Naturally, that hasn't stopped me from going out to test some cars. And we do have a very special project for us right behind me. So as you might have guessed, this is the BMW iX, but not your typical iX, it's the M60, the top of the line BMW iX. So why is this a special project? We've tested the car in the past quite a few times, the iX50, the iX M60, and now once again we have this car in our garage. Well, let me tell you a story. If you're a journalist, you usually have a chance to drive cars way ahead of their launch time, so sometimes even like a year ahead. Then, when the car launches on the market, BMW gets their cars into the press fleet. You have about a week to test the car, and you do your best because it's only 1 week, and you don't really have a chance to go into all the details, into all the fine details, quirks and features of the car. This is why when you sometimes read customer reviews are a lot more detailed, because they actually live with the car and they can experience the car fully. So a few months ago, BMW said, how about we give you a long-term press car, which means you get to keep it for a few months and experience the car as a normal customer would. Of course we said yes, because this is the first time I'm actually getting a long-term press car, so I was excited about this prospect. Next, I had to make a choice. BMW of North America said, would you like the iX50 or the iX M60? And as you can see, I did go for the iX M60, despite initially thinking of picking the iX50, mostly because of its range. It gets about 10% more range than on the M60 version. But then I thought about it. This is the top of the line iX, so why not test the best of the best and also see what it feels like to drive this M-tuned car in a normal daily driving scenario and see if it's still the very same comfortable iX that I know. So for the next few months, the plan goes something like this. I'm going to be creating a lot of content with this car, both for social media, for our website, and of course for YouTube. The goal is really to experience the car as a normal customer would. So that means daily driving in Chicago, the roads are not great, so I'll have a chance to test the air suspension and the rear axle steering in this car. I'm also gonna take this car on some road trips and see how do I deal with the charging infrastructure, because once again, it's not great, especially around Chicago. And then of course, we're gonna be talking about, is this a good family car? I'm gonna show you what it means to travel with kids, with car seats, luggage, and all of that. So there will be a series of content, a series of stories coming out, and it will tell you the entire story of the BMW iX M60 that's right behind me. So in this first episode, we're gonna go over the features and packages that are available in this iX M60. I'm gonna tell you some of my favorites. We're gonna go inside the car. We're gonna take a look at iDrive 8.5. We're gonna look at the space, cargo space, rear space. And then of course, we're gonna talk a little bit about the design. So let's go right into it. So let me start off immediately with the design. The BMW iX, as well as other newer BMWs, have been quite controversial. And that's mostly because of the front end. We've talked about this skinny grille quite a bit, and naturally we have to talk about it once again. I've said it in the past, it is not my favorite, but if you see this skinny grille on bigger cars, on larger cars like the iX, it does work a little bit better. We've seen some renderings in the past with a smaller skinny grille, and it did look a little bit odd. Of course, this one is equally odd, but again, I got used to it over time, mostly because I like the iX. I like what the iX stands for. So let me start with that. This is BMW's bespoke architecture for electric cars. So we have the i4, the i5, and i7 all built on CLAR. That's BMW's flexible architecture, which can accommodate things like gasoline engines, diesel engines, plug-in hybrids, and electric. But the iX, it's a completely different platform. This is a modified, a bespoke platform that's been made specifically for the iX. So because of that, there are quite a few advantages that come with the iX, and we're gonna talk about that when we go inside the car. Let's talk about the paint, because I had the option to pick different paints and I actually went with this one. So this is the Pythonic Blue. So why do I like it? I like it mostly because it's got this really nice, deep and rich blue when it's gloomy outside. But when there is sun shining on it, then it really sparkles and it comes to life, and it gives the car a very premium and luxurious look. You might have noticed also the laser lights. So of course it's a press car, so BMW likes to put all the options possible on the car. And we're gonna take a look at that spec sheet in a second. Laser lights, they are not a must, but if you have the money and if you can splurge, I absolutely encourage you to get them because they look cool. So the BMW iX M60 actually comes standard with quite a few packages and options. I'm not gonna list all of them, but I'm gonna go through some of them that I believe they're quite important to have in the iX. So let's start with the base MSRP. That's nearly $112,000. So what are you getting with that? First and foremost, you're getting the air suspension. That's probably the biggest addition that you can make to your iX car. And when I drive the car, I'll explain why. Next, you're getting the Bowers & Wilkins top-of-the-line audio system with nearly 30 speakers. Actually, they're 30 speakers, not nearly. And they have 3D and 4D surround sound, and they're fantastic. Then you're also getting a luxury package, almost $1,200, and that comes with a glass and wood control, so we're gonna talk about that when I go inside the car. Next, you're getting the laser lights, as I mentioned. You are also getting the M Sport brakes with blue calipers. You're getting the multifunctional seats. You're also getting the comfort access with soft closed doors, so that's cool. So if you want to add a few things more, you can. And probably the biggest package or the most important package that you can add, it's actually called the Driving Assistance Pro package. That's a $2,300 option. With that, you're getting the highway assistant, which is quite cool because it has been improved in the 2024 iX. Naturally, we'll tell you more about that. You're also getting the parking assistant professional, of course, the traffic jam assistant, and all these cool driving assistant features that you've seen in other BMWs as well. On top of this, for nearly $1,000, you can go for the 22-inch M Air wheels, and they come with summer tires, performance tires. So that might be an issue in Chicago when winter hits, but naturally we will switch to winter tires to see how the car performs in snow as well. And the last option that I have on my list here for this car, it's actually the BMW individual titanium bronze. And essentially that's really the trim that you see around the car, this bronze, which looks quite cool, quite premium, and that's something that gives the car a more of a luxurious look. So these are the specs on this car. Of course, it is fully loaded because this is a press car and BMW likes to put everything that's available on the car so us can actually test the car with all the functions and all the features. I was going to focus on the power specs a little bit later on, but let's get them out of the way. So power output, 610 horsepower and a massive 811 pounds-feet of torque. So as you can imagine, the acceleration on this car, it's brutal because it can go from 0 to 60 in low 3 seconds. BMW says 3.6 seconds, but I believe some car magazines managed to do 3.2, 3.3. And hopefully, if the weather holds and it's gonna be a warmer day and we can get the proper PSI in the tires with the tire temperature and all of that, we will take it for a quick drag race and see what are the real numbers in real life scenarios. How about we walk around the car? I'm gonna show you the car one more time. We'll talk about the design, and then I go inside and show you some of these things that I talked about. So of course, the BMW iX, it's a crossover, and you can see that in the proportions and in the design as well. I would say it fits somewhere in between an X5 and an X7. Same thing when it comes to the interior space. These are the wheels that I talked about. So you can see right here, 22-inch wheels, bicolor. You have this bronze and black. Of course, you have the blue calipers. Naturally, it's an M-tuned car, so you need to have this on. This is the trim that I talked about, and you can see it right here. Kind of wraps around the side of the car, and it goes all the way into the back. Open that flap up. You have an AC and DC fast charging capability. 11 kilowatts in the US. You can get a 22 kilowatts option for the AC in Europe. And of course you have the DC with 195 kilowatts. Let me open it up a little bit. BMW told me that for the 2024 models, they adjusted the charging curve on the BMW iX to match the one on the i5 and i7. So essentially you should be able to charge a little bit faster from 10 to 80%. I believe the 2023 times were 0 to 80% in about 35 minutes, but we will test this if I'm able to find a 350 kilowatts charger or maybe a 200 kilowatts charger. Once again, the design that you've seen before, very crossover-ish. It looks nothing like any other BMW that's on sale today. Of course, you have this massive iX M60 badge. You can see it's got the same titanium bronze and black design. You have this very slim, very high-tech looking taillights. They still wrap around the car, but they don't have your typical L shape that you see on other BMWs. Of course, I'm going to show you the space in a little bit here too. But when I go for our road trip, you're going to be able to see how much you can actually fit in here. I only have a backpack right now and a few things that I need for filming today. Maybe I should be getting that jacket because it's quite cold right now. And then once again, you can see the side view a little bit from here. So now let's hop inside and let me show you what we have there. All right, so let's take a look. So first thing you'll notice are the seats. This is the mocha color in Sensatec. So essentially this is a sustainable material, a fake leather type of material that's been available in other BMWs as well. You might have noticed the very unique shape of the steering wheel. It's got this flat top and bottom, and it's something that you don't see in any other BMWs. The i7 and the i5 only have the flat bottom but not the top. So let's hop inside. Here we go. Soft closed doors, part of the comfort access package. And then you will notice immediately also the glass controls. I talked about that package as well being part of this particular car. So you're getting these really nice crystal controls on the door, and then of course on the center console as well. Let's talk a little bit more about the overall design. Once again, because it's a dedicated platform, you can see right here, it is quite spacious at the front. I'm 6'2" tall, and you can see that my seat is not even all the way back. And there is plenty of space right there. And then of course, there is no transmission tunnel like on the i5, i7, or the i4. So you have empty space there where you can actually store things. You have this interesting design of the cubby. You can see it's split, so you have some more storage space right there. Of course, you got this cup holders that you would need in an SUV, and actually you have the wireless charging as well. Your typical BMW shifter, it's gone. You got this toggle shifter right there. Once again, crystal. And because you're getting that wood and crystal package, this open pore wood, it's available right there as well. And that's the way to control the volume. I'm going to talk about that in a second, because you have the Bowers and Wilkins system. As I said, 30 speakers all around the car, 3D and 4D speakers. Some of them are in the ceiling, others are in the headrest, and it sounds fantastic. So let's talk about some of the changes from 2023 models to the 24 models. So let me start it up. You've heard that sound, the Hans Zimmer composed sounds. And the first thing you'll notice if you have a 2024 iX is the addition of this augmented reality view, which now can be actually customized to be shown fully on that center screen. In the 23 model, I believe it's only shown on the right side. So this is exactly what you're getting also in the i5 and i7. And that's possible because this car comes with iDrive 8.5 and with the new head unit. It has the Snapdragon CPU, which is a lot snappier, a little bit faster than the ATEM CPU used in the 23 models. And because of that, this car also got the 8.5 iDrive upgrade. So what's exciting about that? We've talked about this in the past. You might have seen our demo videos, but let me show you quickly some of the new updates to the system. and clearly my favorite one, the AC controls. As you can see, BMW decided to give this UI UX interface which mimics the physical buttons, which unfortunately they are missing from there, and they're now digital and part of the screen, and this makes things a little bit easier when you want to adjust the AC. So let me show you what I mean by that. You can adjust the temperature by simply doing that. You can also access this quick menu right there, and that's going to give you access to the seat cooling and heating, and of course to the steering heating as well, so a lot easier. Now if you go back to the main screen, then you also get in this quick select feature, which is a staple feature in iDrive 8.5 and 9, and you can customize this to have different widgets that you like to access faster. Speaking of accessing things a lot faster, you will still have the shortcuts, and you can see right there, this is how I'll customize mine. First one, you have the tire pressure monitor. I do need that one because I want to keep an eye on that PSI, which not only helps with the driving dynamics, but it also helps quite a bit with the efficiency and the electric range. So let me show you what else I want to add to the shortcuts. First one is the drive recorder. So simply just highlight that item, hold on it for a couple of seconds, and then you can add it to shortcuts. You can see it right there was added. The other thing that I usually like to add to the shortcuts menu, it's the sport mode. So go into my modes, and you just simply do this, add to shortcuts, done. So I don't want to bore you too much, but I'm going to show you one more thing that I usually like to add. If you go to driving settings, I want to have the ability to turn on and off quickly the iconic sounds. It's not always easy to get to. So you go there, and I'm going to add it to shortcuts. So this is just a simple way to customize the shortcuts menu. And of course, you can access it right there. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some other features in the car. Of course, you are getting the ambient light inside if you want, so you can adjust that. Go to ambience, and you can pick different colors. And of course, if you do that, that's going to change also the light inside the speakers, and of course on the doors. It's not a full ambient light on the dashboard as you get on the i7, for example, but it does make for a really nice experience when driving at night. Now let me show you one thing that does bother me a little bit in a BMW iX. Of course, there is no such thing as a perfect car, and that's gotta be the seats problem, because as I said, I'm tall, I'm 6'2", that's about 1.9 meters tall, and I feel like the seats could have a lot more thigh support. You can see right here, they're just a little bit too short for me. So as I was driving, I noticed that I'm sliding a little bit more out of them than the usual, and there is no way to adjust the length or extend the seat's length. So that's one thing. Second one, I feel like the side support, the bolster support, it's not good enough, especially because this is an iX M60. It's supposed to be a sportier car. You're supposed to be having fun with this car, maybe even cornering quite a bit with this one. So you do need some side support, and unfortunately, it's not enough. You can adjust it a little bit. They can inflate and deflate, but it's still not enough. So that's one of my biggest probably quirks inside that I wish BMW would fix. I'm hoping that when the facelift comes along, they will be offering some proper M Sport seats. This is one way to quickly access the seats functions. Just push on that. You're gonna get this menu right there. And now you can actually click on it and adjust the backrest, as you can see right there. You can go back, or you can actually do this now. Adjust the seat depth and seat angle. Once again, you're not able to extend it. And of course, you have the backrest width that's adjustable as well. I definitely took care of that. But if you don't want to do that, you can also go into the sport mode, and that's going to make things a little bit tighter in the seat as well. Once again, space-wise, you can see how spacious the car really is. I mean, if I were to push the seat all the way in the back, I'm barely able to reach the steering wheel. So naturally, this is not your ideal driving position. So let me go back to mine. And then behind me, there is plenty of room for 2 car seats. I'm gonna show you that as well. And then also, if you wanna travel with 3 adults, you should be all right. A lot of people ask me, why do I like the flat bottom steering wheel? Not only because it looks different, and of course I like some things to be different than your normal, but also because it's a lot easier to get in and out of the car. And I'm gonna show you right now as I exit the car. All right, I mentioned the rear space, so let's give it a try. Once again, you saw the front seat being adjusted to my height. You can see how much space I actually have. Plenty of knee room. I do like the scoops in the back seat. It allows you to stretch even further into the seat if you want to. And I have massive amount of headroom right here, probably at least 7 to 10 inches right there, which is quite generous. Side room, of course, plenty as well. And you can see you can definitely have an adult in the center space right here. And then, of course, one right there. So no issue there. I have a cable here because I like to charge my devices or the cameras as we drive along. And you have 2 USB ports into the back of the seat. So that's quite nice for people that sit in the back. So once again, very spacious. Of course, it does help that the bench, it's tilted a little bit backwards, so you can lean into the seat quite a bit. It is very comfortable. I love the bench in this one. Once again, I just wish the front seats were a little bit more on the sportier side. So again, this is why I like the bespoke EV platform, because you are getting a lot more room in the back and in the front as well. You can see right here, you can store a nicely decent size back in the middle because there is no transmission tunnel. The one cool feature though in the BMW iX, especially from the back, it's this panoramic roof. You cannot open it, it's a fixed one, but you are able to adjust the opaqueness on it. You can do that from the front seat. You simply just push that button and it will adjust the see-through component of the panoramic. So this is the rear seating of the BMW iX. Let's hop outside. I'm gonna show you one more thing, and then we're gonna move on to the next episode, which is gonna be talking all about the driving experience, the road trip component, and all of that. Okay, so once again, thanks for watching this quick video of the BMW iX M60. Once again, I just wanted to kind of show you the features and quirks and all of that of the car. But in the next few episodes, we will explore this car in a lot more detail. I am absolutely interested to see how this one feels as far as driving dynamics compared to the 50 model. I want to fully experience the air suspension in Chicago. The roads are not great at all. And then of course, I want to see if that rear axle steering makes a difference, especially when you drive in a congested and tight city like Chicago, where you need to turn all the time and do all of that. It should help, but I will give you a better assessment as I drive the car. Finally, at some point, I will be going on a longer road trip, and I want to find out how difficult or how easy it is to actually find a charging station, because until now, I've had an i3 with a range extender. So every time I will run out of electricity, I would simply just go to a gas station, fill it up a little bit, and keep on going. But now I actually have to plan my route. I have to make sure that I find a very fast charging station, not just the 50 kilowatts, which might take forever, but rather one that's maybe 150 or 350. So a lot of things coming up. This is an exciting time for us because we really get to experience the car as a normal customer, as I said earlier today. So don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this series with the BMW iX M60, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more things coming out in the future that you will absolutely love. Don't go anywhere, and I'll see you very soon.